So good morning and welcome to the therapeutic class for today. And our theme this week again is from the Yoga Sutras. And in the Yoga Sutras, in this way of meditating, we'll say, through the Yoga Sutras, there's a concept that we're often using something as they call it an object of meditation. So something to focus on during the meditation that should be positive, that should be help us to move in the direction that we want to go. And the Yoga Sutras offer a bunch of suggestions as to what that object of meditation might be. And it doesn't have to be the same thing every time. But they say things like, oh, you could focus on a particular mantra or affirmation that helps you feel good or furthers your goals. One of the suggestions is focus on light, because light often makes us feel more expansive and lighter in ourselves. Focusing on the breath. If God is a concept that works for you, the sutras say, great, focus on God or a higher power. And sort of at the end of this long list of suggestions of things that one could do, it basically says choose any object, choose anything that feels positive and feels good to you. And today, just being the summer solstice week, so we just passed the summer solstice, I would like to suggest the sun as a meditative focus for the practice. However, if that doesn't work for you, you can choose anything that feels good for you. So, I mean, along with the theme of the sun, it could be the moon, which is the reflected light of the sun. It could be some other kind of light, or it really could be anything that feels good and supportive to you. And when I first started working with my teacher, he was really big on sun meditations, and I found them really agitating, actually. I found that I got hot and just felt irritated by them. And the suggestion came to me to perhaps focus on the rising sun or the setting sun, so not so much that big ball of sun. And some of you might love that. You might love just baking and sweating, and that feels great to you. That's not my favorite place to be. So I really prefer the coolness of the morning and that rising sun and the start of a new day. That really works for me. So you can pick any aspect of the sun that works for you or something else. So I will meet you. We're going to be on our chairs again, or on the floor if you prefer, so I'll meet you there. So finding a comfortable seat where you feel well supported by the structure of your body and not slumping back into the support of your chair. Have your feet flat on the ground, or if you're sitting cross-legged, feel a sense of being supported by the earth underneath your feet or your legs. And let your hands rest so that your shoulders can drop down. It could be in your lap or on your thighs, whatever's comfortable for you. Take a few breaths just to settle, feel your body expand and relax with the breath. Feel your sit bones where they make contact with whatever surface you're sitting on. And if possible, feel a sense of releasing or dropping into that support, dropping into the sit bones. Feel your shoulders drop away from your ears and the crown of the head gently lift toward the ceiling. There's no need to force or be rigid here. The Yoga Sutras say that any focus that helps us to feel present, to feel positive, to feel good can be useful in terms of what we bring to our practice, whether that's a meditation practice or a physical yoga practice. There's always an aspect of bringing the mind into focus. So if the sun feels like an appropriate focus for you today, you might bring into your mind some aspect of the sun, whether it's that big ball of noonday hot sun or the rising or setting sun. Perhaps it's the reflected light of the sun on the moon. And if none of those ideas appeal to you or feel positive to you today, you might bring something else into your mind. And whenever I invite you to come back to the theme of the sun, you'll just come back to whatever you've decided to focus on today. So take a moment to imagine this focus, your sun. Imagine yourself in a scene, perhaps with the sun. Imagining the feeling of the sun on your skin. And how it feels for you to be in the presence of this incredible power, the sun. The sun is pure energy and heat, and you could imagine even breathing that energy in, as if you could take a little bit of the sun's energy and draw it in with your breath. We all have times of darkness where we feel less connected to the light. Focusing on the light isn't about eradicating the darkness per se, but bringing light to the darkness. So we might see our shadows, see those things that we would rather ignore, but in ignoring them, they can often grow. So we bring light to all of who we are. And breathing that in, everything that arises that is highlighted through the sun is welcome here. The challenges, the difficulties, the temper tantrums, whatever it is for you that you would rather not shine a light on. See if you can find some openness and acceptance for the shadows as well as the things that feel really good. And let's take a few more breaths to really draw that in. Whatever the light illuminates for you is welcome here. Whatever emotions arise are welcome. So let's start to bring in a little bit of movement. And as we move and we warm up the joints, imagining the energy of the sun and the lubrication and heat coming into the body. And if you're already overheated, and just imagine the lubrication and through the movement. So let's lift the shoulders and roll them back and down a few times and really tune into the experience that you're aware of in your shoulders. Does it feel comfortable? Is there a difference from one side to the other, perhaps? Is there some feeling of stickiness or stuckness in your shoulders? Or do they move quite freely? Right. And then this time as you draw the shoulders back and down, take the arms back, reach back behind you, let the chest lift. Feel the shoulder blades move down and in a little bit and find a little gentle lift of the chin, not throwing your head back, but just find a little openness around the heart. And then turn the palms forward, reaching the arms forward, slowly crossing the body, giving yourself a hug, letting the head come down and maybe even rounding the upper back a little bit. You can move your upper body a bit side to side, taking the elbows from one side to the other, maybe moving the head a little if that feels good. Right, coming back to the center, noticing which arm is on top so we can do the other next time. Reaching the arms back, palms turn in towards each other, shoulders down. If you like, you can take a hold of your chair if you find that helpful, or just reach back with your hands. A little lift in the chin, but lots of control of the head, so you're not letting the head flop back. And then arms to the sides, palms turn forward, and we're going to take the other arm on top now to give yourself a little hug, let your head come down. You can round a little bit here with the upper back just to create a little more space. And then you might do a little side to side movement to encourage some opening around the shoulder blades, back of the neck. Great, and then gradually we'll come back to the center, lifting the head, taking the arms out to the sides, turn the palms up toward the ceiling and stretch the fingertips away from the center. Try to keep your shoulders down and relaxed. We're going to rotate the arms so the shoulders come forward, palms turn up, and you'll kind of come forward a bit with your body likely, and then rotate open, palms turn up, thumbs back. Good, and then keep going forward and back. So it's a little internal rotation and then external rotation. You'll feel your body most likely move. So you're rounding a bit as the arms come forward, opening as they come back. And then let's bring the hands to the knees, and we'll continue that movement for the spine in the cat-cow. So inhaling to find some more arch, exhaling, rounding, and letting the chin come down toward the chest, and repeating that movement. So inhaling, exhaling. Feel your weight shift forward and back along your sit bones. And then let's add a forward bend. So you're inhaling as you come up now, taking the arms up. And as you exhale, hinge from your hips and come forward. Inhale and lift. Coming forward any amount that serves you. Great. And then you can stay for a few breaths. So either your hands or your elbows on your thighs, or you can let the chest come right down, let the head release. So find the way of being in this pose that feels right for you. And then take a few breaths. And as you breathe, imagine perhaps the breath as a sun that sort of expands as you inhale and gently contracts as you exhale. And that sun, you might feel it around the heart, around the rib cage and the lungs, this sort of expansion and contraction with the breath. When you're ready, you'll bring your hands back to your thighs to lift up. You'll come upright and take your arms overhead, breathing in. And then exhaling, taking the hands onto the knees. And if you're sitting on a chair, you might take your feet a little wider. If you're sitting cross-legged, you're probably good as you are. And we'll do some circles with the torso. So again, you're moving slowly and inviting some space where there's stiffness. So you might feel it in the lower back or the hips, or both, or other places. And then eventually, going the other way. Right, and then when you come back to center, switch hands. So take the hand from one knee across to the other knee and bring your other hand to the floor of the chair. And if you want less twist, bring your knees a little closer. And as you press against the knee, press out into the hand. As you press into the knee, use the hand behind you to lift you tall, and take a few breaths looking over your shoulder. And you'll take the arm from behind you, lifting it up, coming back to center, crossing over to the other side, releasing the hand and bringing it behind you. Again, using the hand against the leg for a little tiny bit of leverage, the hand behind you to leverage lifting, looking over your shoulder and taking a few breaths here. You're not trying to get your maximum twist. We're just warming up, feeling the breath moving into the tightness of the twist. And then coming back to the center, let's repeat the cat-cow movement a few times. So inhaling, arching, exhaling, and rounding. Moving at your own pace, trying to stay connected and tuned into what you're noticing. And if you like, you might also imagine sun shining in the heart at the front as you inhale, expanding in the back as you exhale. A few more breaths. After an exhale, back to a neutral spine. And taking the hands and circling the wrists. Circle one way and then the other. Right, and you can do a little gentle stretch by taking the four fingers, gently drawing them back with the palm facing the ceiling. And then other side. And then take the palms together, put a little bit of pressure and move the heels of your hands down as the shoulders relax, putting a little pressure into the hands to feel some stretch in the forearms. You can release the pressure, turn the backs of the hands towards each other, and gently draw the elbows down a little to stretch the tops of the wrists, being very gentle here. Good. And then bring the palms back together. And we'll do some rotations. So palms down first, fingers come in, backs of the hands together. And as the palms turn out, you can just roll over, palms down, circling, out, around, down. All right, and then pause here with the palms open in this gesture called Anjali Mudra, gesture of giving and receiving. And you can close your eyes for a moment and imagine the sun or whatever object you've chosen in your hands. It could be a little mini sunset or sunrise scene. It could be a hot sunny beach scene or anything that feels right for you. And then we'll take that sun and bring it right to the heart, bringing the hands one over the other to the heart. And take a few breaths as though you could breathe that sun right into your body, into your chest and belly, into your arms and legs, into your fingers and toes, and right up to the crown of your head. And then big breath in as if you could take that sun or object, lift it up, and send it out all around you like a protective cocoon or shield. And then bringing the hands back together. Let's do that again. Raising up. And as if you could send those rays out to create a kind of aura or cocoon or protective shield around you. Again, breathing in, sending it out. And once more. As the arms come down to your sides, you can just let them hang there. If you're, again, on the floor, the fingertips might be on the floor, and that's fine. We'll take the head and turn it to one side and do a little half circle, sweeping the chin across your chest to the other side, and then sweeping back. Again, tune in and notice how your neck feels. Does it feel different on one side from the other? Can you hear any noises as you move? If you'd like to make a full circle, feel free, being cautious as always not to let your head fall back behind your shoulders, so you've always got control. If you're circling, you can go the other way a few times as well. Right. And then when you come back to the center, let's take the head and tilt it to one side. And this is where you could reach down with the opposite arm. And if you want a little bit more stretch, take the arm on the side that the head is moving towards and just give it a little support. You're not trying to pull it down to the side, you're supporting it into the upper arm. And if that doesn't feel right for you, then just leave the arm hanging down, no problem. If you've brought the arm up, you can slowly remove it, slowly bring the head to center, and we'll go to the other side. So the arm opposite reaching down, the arm on the same side maybe coming to make a bit of a cradle, but not a pulling movement. Great. And then when you release, again, bring the head to center, and you may want to bring the chin toward the chest for a few breaths. And then slowly lifting the head. And let's do a couple more shoulder rotations. Bringing everything back to hopefully evenness. Right. You can bring your hands to your chair, or if you're on the floor, you can use your hands to support you from behind. Stretch your legs out in front. Give them a little shake. You can wave your feet and legs side to side, maybe outward, inward. Right. And then we'll come to standing position. You can come upright. I'm going to keep my chair handy at the end of my mat. You could do the same if you're using a chair. And as you come to stand, you can take your feet apart, hands to your hips. Just after sitting for a while, it's nice to do some movements for the hips. You can do some circles. Keep your knees soft. Circle in one direction and then the other way. Right, and then let's come back to the center, and you can bring your feet in a little bit closer to one another. And let's keep working with the shoulders. So it's nice when we're standing to alternate the shoulder rotations and really get the whole body involved. So you can bring one shoulder forward, roll it back, let the whole body twist. And you can even add a little more movement for the arms, taking them up. If that feels good, the hips are swinging. Try going the other way as well. Again, it could be just the shoulders moving. It could be getting the arms kind of into the situation, or big sweeping movements with the arms. So it's really depends what feels good for you. Eventually you'll come back to the center. So we'll work with a little bit of a forward bend here. So I'm going to face the chair and use the chair as a guide. You can bring your hands to your legs or wherever you can reach if you prefer. So taking a breath in, reaching up. And I'm going to bend my knees to come forward, coming forward as much as is comfortable, just resting my hands on the chair. Then I'm going to straighten my arms. So you could do this with your hands on your thighs as well, and look for a little bit of extension or arch in the back. Breathing in and then exhaling, coming forward again. Inhale, lifting all the way up. And exhale, releasing. So we'll try that same movement again. Inhaling. The arms can come from the front or the sides, doesn't matter. Exhale, bend your knees, let your body relax forward. And then find that length in the spine. Inhaling, you might need to bend your knees a little more to find some arch in the back. Exhale to release forward again. Inhale to lift all the way up. And exhale to release. Again, inhaling to lift. Soften your knees to give your lower back lots of space and length coming forward. Inhale, straightening the arms, looking for a little arch, lengthening. Exhale, fold forward again. Inhale and lift all the way up. Exhale and release. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, lift. Even a little back bend here if you like. Exhale, soften your knees. Come forward. Relax your shoulders. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale and fold. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, arms down. So we'll move into working with warrior pose from this kind of a beginning, sort of like a little bit of a mini sun salutation. If you're wanting to do this as a sun salutation, instead of coming to a chair, you could bring your hands to the floor and step back from there, whatever works. So from here, we're going to start the same way, breathing in and lifting. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, finding that arch. It really helps if the knees are soft here. Try not to crank your head up. Exhale and fold forward. Right, from here, so you could have your hands on the ground or on the chair. We're going to step back with the right foot. So your right foot turns to the right. You can bring the left foot a little forward if you like, or leave it where it was, just finding the position that suits you. Pressing back into your back heel. Feel a little stretch maybe in your calf. If you want, you can pick the foot up, turn it forward, and a little more stretch in your calf here for a moment. Or different stretch, I should say. It sort of moves it into the back of the calf more. And then when you're ready to work with warrior, we will want that back foot turned out so we can really be anchored. And you want to make sure that your back foot is side by side, not straight in a line back with your 2 feet, so that you've got a little bit of stability here. So bending the front knee, we'll inhale and lift up into warrior one. And then as you exhale, you can come forward, letting your head come down. You could move the front leg a little straighter if that's available to you. And then you'll bend it again as you lift up, breathing in and coming forward. So this could be done with the hands coming to the ground rather than the chair. Totally up to you. Or if you have blocks, that might be another option. Great. Let's stay in warrior one for a few breaths. So you might not see my hands, but overhead they're facing each other. And I'm drawing a little down with the shoulders. And while I'm finding a lift in the heart, I don't want to jut my rib cage out. So I'm thinking about just keeping a little bit of contact in the abdominal area. So I'm gently drawing the ribs and hips towards each other in the front, but finding a lift, finding a lift in the heart. Good. From here, bring the hands back to the ground or to the chair and take a few breaths here. Try to think about length in the spine rather than rounding the back here. So nice long spine. Could be hands on the knee here would be a nice option if you're not using a chair. And then we'll step forward, finding the spacing that works for you with your feet in relation to the chair, if you're using a chair. And then from here, bending both knees, inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale and release. So do the same thing on the other side. Inhaling to lift. Exhale forward. Inhale, lengthening. Good. Exhale. And we'll step back with the left foot now. So again, we might start with the toes forward, give a little calf stretch by pressing the heel toward the ground. If your heel easily reaches the ground, you might want to step a little further back to find that stretch. So take a few breaths here. When you're ready to work with warrior, back foot turns out so it's stable. You want to make sure you've got a little space between your feet side to side, so your feet aren't directly in front of one another, which makes it much harder to balance. So in this kind of hip distance orientation. And then from there, we'll inhale and lift. And exhale to come forward. Again, you could move your front leg straighter as you come forward, if that's available and feels good for you. And then inhale again to lift. Go at your own pace, your own breath rhythm. We'll stay for a few breaths. So when you're staying, again, think about nice long spine. The front leg could be straighter or bent. It really is according to what feels right for your body. So we're not wanting to ever overstretch or force or strain the body at all. So even just bending and straightening a little to ease into that stretch is a nice option here. And coming upright, we'll take a moment in warrior here. So again, I'm going to keep a little bit of engagement in the core, a little lift in the heart, shoulders move down, anchored down into the back heel. Right, and then let's come forward and we'll step forward. Bend your knees, take a breath in, lengthen. Exhale, fold down toward the chair or the ground. And then inhale, come all the way up, reaching up overhead. And exhaling to release. So for this next one, we'll be going into either an extended forward bend with the chair, or if you are comfortable with it, it could be downward dog on the ground. So it's really the same position, just a lot less weight on the hands if you're using a chair. So if your wrists need a little extra support, use the chair. So from here, we'll inhale and lift. Exhale, come forward. And I'm taking my chair by the sides. You could have your hands flat. I've got this cushion on my chair, so having my hands flat is actually a little harder on my wrists. It would be better to be on the flat chair, but having my hands to the sides is actually much easier on my wrists. So if you're on the ground, you want to have your hands pretty flat, even weight across your hands. So from here, we'll step back as if we're going to stretch the calves as we did the first time. And then we'll step back with the other foot and start to bend the knees and lower the upper body in line with the arms. Now, if your shoulders are tight, you might have more angle. You might be a little closer to your chair, a little less openness in the shoulders. If your shoulders feel good here, you can have a little more space. Then wherever you're at, whether your hands are on the ground or a chair, think about drawing your elbows in towards each other and opening up the space between your shoulder blades. Head is in line with your arms, so you're not looking forward. And take a few breaths here. Right, we're going to slowly come forward, bringing the weight to the hands. I'm going to, again, grab the sides of my chair. This is optional here, and if your hands are on the ground, same thing. You can do this here coming into a kind of a plank pose. So I'm going to lower my hips. I want to make sure my shoulders don't go past my wrists. So I might even step back a little bit to find a flat line. Now, if this is hard on your wrists, skip this one. Just stay a little bit more in that forward bend position rather than the plank position. But if you can find that plank position and you feel strong here, hold for a couple of breaths. Right, and then you can Press back again toward downward dog. And then step forward one foot and the other foot. Bend the knees. Inhale, lift all the way up. And exhale to release. And let's take a couple of breaths here and just feel that the effects of those few movements. You might feel a little warmth now. Sun salutations, and that's just sort of a little bit of a variation of a sun salutation, tend to be heating. So they move the body through a series of poses. But also the intention is to really connect with that, with the energy of the sun. So let's try that little bit of a sequence. Again, we'll put it together a bit more this time and bring that sun theme back in. So let's bring the hands together at the heart as if we're holding our version of the sun or whatever object you might have chosen to focus on today. And holding that close to the heart, knowing that whatever object or focus feels positive to us will help to infuse that positivity into us as we bring our mind to it over and over. If we focus on what's negative, what we don't want, we actually invite more of that into our lives. And then when you're ready, you can take that sun or whatever it is, lift it up. Good. And then sending that energy out as a kind of protective shield again, coming forward into the forward bend. And pause here for a few breaths. So again, it could be hands on the legs or the chair, elbows on the thighs, or reaching toward the floor. Just take a moment to bow to that power, to the power of the sun. Right, and then hands to the ground or the chair. We'll step back with the right foot, turning the foot to the side for now, and lifting up in warrior one. Breathing in as you lift up. Right, and then bringing the hands down. Take that back foot, turn it forward, and we'll step back with both feet to downward dog, or your chair version. Take a few breaths here again, elbows moving towards each other, upper back opening. If you like, you can stay here or try the plank pose again. So you're going to come forward over your arms. If you're a little too close, you can step back a little so that shoulders come over the wrists in this pose, and the body's in a flat line. So you don't want to sag down here. You could be a little more lifted, but try to be in a nice straight line if possible. And then you can shift from there back to our downward dog. You may need to step forward for that to be comfortable. Take a couple of breaths here. Squeeze the elbows in towards each other a little bit. And then we'll step the right foot forward and turn the left foot out. Inhale, lift up to warrior one. Exhale and come forward. We'll step forward, both feet side by side. Take a breath in and find that little bit of arch again. Bend your knees and then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift all the way up. And then exhale again to release. So again, let's take a moment, feel the feet on the ground, settle, let the breath settle. So with those movements sort of coming one after the other, it's quite normal to have your heart rate a little elevated and your breath get a little faster. So let's take a moment and just let things settle. Feel your heels go into the earth. Feel the crown of your head lift. Shoulders drop down. And take a few breaths, imagining that sun all through your body now, as if you've brought it in, increased it with the movement, and now it's part of your circulation, part of your energy. You can take the feet a little bit wider now. Take a breath in and reach the arms up. As you exhale, bend your knees and bring your hands or your forearms onto your thighs. Let your head release downward. So chin relaxing toward the chest. If you have any issues with pressure, blood pressure, or head pressure in any way, headache, glaucoma, anything like that, you want to keep your head above your heart. So you're just going to come upright a little more. Otherwise, a couple more breaths here. Could be hands on the ground. And when you're ready to come up, big breath in, reaching to the sides, reaching all the way up. And exhaling to release. Step your feet in towards each other. And again, take a moment to feel the earth beneath you, the air all around you. You might feel the circulation, the blood flowing, the water, the watery aspect of your being. And also the fire, the passion, the excitement, the energy. All of those elements are all of who we are. That's what we're made up of. And then we have this other piece, this spirit or soul or whatever you want to call it. But our human form is made up of those elements. So when we think about the sun, it's actually part of us already. It's just connecting to the sun that's out there. We're going to come to lie down. Take your time. So if you like, you can support your head with a blanket. It doesn't work very well with the microphone, but for you, if that's more comfortable, do that. And then we're going to take the arms out to the sides, palms face the ceiling, and you'll slide the arms out to the sides, bending the elbows as much as you need to so that the backs of the hands and the elbows stay on the ground, and there's no discomfort. You might feel a little bit of a gentle stretch across the shoulders or the chest, but no discomfort or strain. The arms should really relax easily here. So find the position that works for you. If you want, you can wiggle your feet further apart. Let your knees fall together so there's no effort in the legs here. Straight legs is an option as well if that's more comfortable. And you're breathing. So when you breathe in this position, there's a little bit more space around the heart. You might imagine yourself lying somewhere under the sun, maybe in the shade if you're not such a sun heat lover, maybe right in the sun. And as you breathe, feel the expansion around your heart, connecting with the expansion and the glow of the sun. Like the sun in the sky could connect to that sun in your heart. The sun in your heart is like a small piece of that sun in the sky. So breathing into that expansion, the chest, belly. Relax your neck. We'll take a few more breaths here, really inviting that energy of the sun to connect with the energy and expansiveness of our own hearts. And then if it feels good to you, you might slowly roll your head from side to side. Maybe pausing each side for a breath or two to experience the sensation of stretch or whatever it is that you feel. Side to side a couple of times, maybe spending a breath or two each side. And then eventually you'll come back to the center. You can keep the arms in this position as long as you're really comfortable here. If you want to move the arms down a little bit as we start to twist with the lower body, you can move the arms down. So now we're going to bring the feet to about hip distance apart, the knees over the ankles. And now the lower body will twist. So as the knees go one way, you can also turn your head the opposite way if you like. You'll exhale as you twist. Inhale to center. Exhale to twist the other way. Inhale to center. Go at your own pace, doesn't matter how far you go to the side. You'll stop when your body says that's enough. So for some people, the knees go pretty much to the ground. For others, it might be only about halfway, somewhere in between. Come back to the center, and one more option here, and this is totally up to you. So if you're feeling like you want to keep stretching the front of the shoulders a little bit, and if you feel really tight in that area, you can leave the arms where they are. And if you're feeling more tight in the back of your body, in the shoulder blade area, you might instead take your arms and cross your elbows. So cross your arms so you're holding your elbows over your chest. And then as the knees go one way, the elbows go the other way, and there's more of an opening into the upper back and shoulder blade area rather than the front of the chest. So you can try it both ways or choose the way that feels most supportive to whatever's going on in your body right now. Eventually make your way back to the center, and we'll take the hands onto the knees and bring the knees toward the chest and move forward and back a few times. So you're exhaling as you draw in and inhaling as you move away. Let's keep the right knee in toward the chest. Bring the left foot to the floor. You can hold on above or behind the knee here. Stretching the left leg straight out. Press down into the heel. And gently squeeze in with the right knee. So option here, you can either keep the right hand on the right knee and keep the knee in toward the chest if that's comfortable for you as you raise the left arm overhead. If it's more comfortable for you to place your left foot on the floor and relax the hand wherever it wants to go, that's fine too. So wherever you are, you're going to find a reach on the left side from your heel to your fingertips, and imagine you're breathing that sun energy of expansion, of light and heat and warmth into that whole left side, from your fingertips to your arm to your armpit, side of the rib cage, the left hip, the left thigh, calf, ankle, foot. Breathing that sun energy, that expansive, warm energy into the left side. And then when you're ready, release the right side. You can lower both arms. They can rest on your body or on the ground. And then either both knees bent or both legs straight. So we're symmetrical-ish in the body. And take a moment to notice the left side where we've just been breathing the sun into versus the right side that we haven't yet. So notice any difference or any sensations that are present there. And then when you're ready, you can bend both knees and bring both knees into the chest again, one hand to each knee, and we'll even things out by drawing the knees in with an exhale, moving the knees away with an inhale. And then we'll keep the left knee
in toward the body. Again, you can hold either above or below the knee. Stretch the right leg out. Keep that leg active. Heel gently pressing into the earth. Gently squeezing in with the left leg, or if it's better for you, you can bring the foot to the floor as you raise the right arm. Now, the arm doesn't have to go straight overhead. It could go out to the side, whatever is more comfortable for you. The knee can be, left knee can be in to the chest or foot on the floor. And then you're breathing into that long right side, the fingers, the wrist, the arm, the armpit, the side of the ribs, into the waist, the hip, into the thigh, the knee, the calf, ankle, and all the way down to your foot. As if you could breathe that sun into that whole side of your body, expanding and reaching to grow the space to receive the sun. And again, lowering the arm. If you've got a hold of the leg, you can release. And then again, either both legs bent or both legs straight for a moment, hands on the body or on the floor. And you'll take a few breaths to notice what has changed. What are you aware of? And then when you're ready, you can bend both knees, bring both knees to the chest again. And we'll repeat the forward and back movement a few times. Inhaling away, exhaling in. Stay with this movement if you like, or you can switch it up with the extended version. Legs and arms reaching away from each other as you breathe in, and then into the center as you exhale. Eventually coming back to the center. You can stay with the knees to the chest for a few breaths. Do a little movement here if you like, circling or rocking. We'll move next into Shavasana. So if there's anything you want to do to get ready, take your time. If there's any other movement that you'd like to do, you can also take the time to do that, and then eventually finding your way to stillness. And it could be lying down, it could be sitting up. So whatever is best for you. So again, take a moment to get yourself comfortable. And eventually finding your way to stillness in the most comfortable position you can find. And there's a point where you just have to say, I'm as comfortable as I think I'm going to be, and commit to that position. So when you find that place, letting your body settle, let's come back to the breath now, and simply an awareness that you are breathing. Feel the breath come and go without effort as much as possible.
Feel a softening in your belly as you let the breath go. Feel the shoulders drop and the arms release. Be aware of that gentle rhythmic movement of the rib cage and belly with your breath. Notice the area around your throat and neck and see if you can bring a little more ease and softening. If you're lying down, find the support beneath your head and let your head relax into that support so your neck can let go. And if you're sitting, you're looking for that balanced place where the head rests over the spine and there's very little effort for the neck. As you exhale, feel a softening, a deeper softening in the belly. Drop down through the pelvis and the hips. Feel letting go in the thighs, knees, calves, ankles, right to your feet. Breathing, softening, letting go with each breath. And the more you let go of tension in the body, the more the inhale fills you with light and sun or whatever your focus has been today. So you exhale, soften, create space, breathe in the light, the sun, or your chosen focus. Each breath having that intention, letting go of tension, letting go of holding as you exhale, and as you inhale, bringing in that light, that sun, that energy of expansion, of warmth, clarity. I'll share part of a chant with you today that honors the sun, and in particular, it talks about the prism or the rainbow colors of the sun, the full spectrum. And when we meditate on sun and on light, we have that full spectrum of color available to us. Om Hram Udyan Adyamitra Maha Om Hrim Aruhanuttarandivam Om Hrum Rudrogamama Surya Om Hraim Hare Mananjana Shaya Om Hram Shuke Shume Harimanam Om Raha Rupanaka Sudatmasi Om. Summer solstice and summer in general is a lovely time for renewing our energy. It's very energizing to have so much light in the northern hemisphere, at least this time of year. And feel as though you could really breathe that light in for the last few breaths here in Shavasana. It's like you're restoring or recharging your batteries with the sunlight, the solar power. And then gradually, as you take those deep breaths and charge up your solar batteries, you can start to bring in a little movement, wiggle your fingers and toes, maybe circle your ankles and wrists, or move in any way that would feel good. You're eventually, if you're choosing to end your practice now, you can roll to your side and come upright if you're lying down. And if you've chosen to stay a little longer with Shavasana, you can just ignore me now. And as you feel ready to come back upright, you can come to a seated position. Bringing the hands together at the heart. And you might bring into your mind someone today who could use a little extra light. It could be someone who's suffering from depression or illness, confusion, lack of clarity. So if there's someone you know who could use a little more sun energy in their lives, bring them into your mind now. Wish them well. Imagine them surrounded in light. Namaste.